you like to add, Uncle Lifty? Or should I go on?
On the inflation part, I can.
Okay.
So what I will say, it still goes back to supply and demand, right? Because you have a demand of, let's say, people who want to jump into buying houses and stuff like that. Which now you were saying the first half of this year is going to, like January, things are going to go down, going to be bearish for them, and then they're trying to compensate for the market. So obviously prices will then skyrocket in general things like real estate, rentals, food in general. So for that, it becomes a little bit complex with the real estate part, right? Because now when you look at it overall, housing itself doesn't, when you rent these days, when you rent out property, you don't really get that much of money unless do renovations and selling. I don't know if I'm making sense.
You are making sense. You are making sense, Uncle Lifty. 100%. 100%.
Because now, for instance, I was looking at then again, what is this Baldwin Properties?
Yeah.
At Baldwin Properties in Joburg, there are some properties that they have, and then if you look at it, you are paying round about 12,000, 15,000 for either a 2-bedroom and stuff like that. And then you come and look at the interest rate, almost like annually. Interest rates upon 9%.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't know how much that 9% is going to affect you. So buying, it's actually easier than for you to rent because those interest rates, hey man.
Yeah.
Nah.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, that inflation.
That's what we call rent to buy. Is it wise as well to get into such a deal? To rent to buy, because sometimes you're not especially this happens. You're not credit worthy, so to say, but you're able to at least sign a rental, and then property owners will say, okay, rent to buy. How is that the way to go?
That's the trap, because when you rent to buy, your rent, okay, you are paying the rent, but they're not really interested in your rent. They are interested in the interest that they're getting with you. Oh, there is a little bit of a rent. Interested in the interest.
Yeah.
So the plan is to keep you in the interest. You must be interested in the interest. That's what they are interested in.
Mm-hmm.
So your bank is not really doing anything. A rent is just water in the fridge, but the interest, it's the money.
What I interested in. Yeah. I get the right. I get the right out of it. Yeah. I'm happy you get it, man. You're diluting Sambo a little bit. I'm happy because Sambo can really go deep and deeper and deeper, and then you pull him out from the dungeons.
Yeah, boy.
Hey, son.
Yeah, technical.
Yeah.
Oh, one the kiki tata Joe. I would think embarrassing when
Yeah, boy. Yeah. I can I every day I improve myself. I learn. So I use the show, just to regurgitate that type of knowledge, because it's not the type of knowledge I can just share with everybody, and then everybody just understands me. They're gonna say, yeah, man, when are you talking about complicated stuff? So this is my safe place. This is my safe place, and where I get to actually go through everything that I've learned and practice.
I love it. I think guys, we should agree to say we should bring property owners on the show. We should also bring those that are selling property. We should bring them here. And really get deep into this, because housing it's a big thing in this country. Once you start working, you need a house, and that's where these guys sometimes we don't understand even, the agreements that we're getting into. So I think we should bring them on, just to prepare, the young ones for that time when they have to sign their bond,
Absolutely.
Most definitely.
Maybe bring the bank.
That's in the
Bring the
pipeline.
bank too.
That's in the pipeline. Actually. It's in the
These
pipeline.
are the people who enable us to have all these properties,
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Yep.
You should break it down in a way that they are not trying to protect themselves. You should break it down to tell us, guys, you're actually shooting yourself in the foot. If you're taking it this way, rather take it this way. Leaders have their jobs.
Definitely. Definitely.
We need what frame that comes through.
Yeah, we need one. That brief one is like, you know what? Whether they say get out of here or not. But I think
Because those are not happening so much time,
Yeah.
Because those are not happening too much time.
absolutely we need those kind of brave people.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. I don't want to hit on Jeff Bell and
Yebo. And like you were saying, I was saying that that's actually in the pipeline. What I learned about property. How I learned about property is through one of my mentors, Kurt Kotia. He actually has a company called Triok, and they teach you about refinancing and how to buy and actually how to create like a residual income through property. So there's a right time to buy something and there's a wrong time. There's a time to buy and there's actually a time to rent. Because everything gets value from scarcity. Just like you said, supply and demand. If there's too much of something, and I say this from the question that you asked, that what makes the property price actually go down is because now when there's a lot of property for sale at a cheap price and you are selling yours at the price that it's valued at, people will not buy your property. It will be listed there for a long time. And you also need to look at things that are happening around you, how the economy is, because right now if you check, people are selling their mansions. Look at Trevor Noah. Trevor Noah's mansion is also listed there because these people are people that are aware of actually what's going on in the economy. They know that at this time property prices are going to go up, so they know that when issues about to hit the fan, we sell this property, and then after you sell it, the price goes down. It gets devalued due to a recession, due to layoffs, and due to a lot of properties being listed. And then if the average price of it goes down, that's when now you buy. Like that's when people buy now. Because if you committed yourself into buying something at the wrong time, you don't buy you don't buy nuclear material, you don't buy guns at the time of peace and just keep them there because they will rust. And then at the time of war, you won't be able to fight. So you need to look at what's happening around you. You need to look at, how the market is going. You need to look at how much money is being printed. You need to look at what's actually going to happen in the economy. Because, the further you look back is the more you can see in the future. Yeah.
I think the most important thing, let's take it from that now, whereby you should give people where they should look at now.
Yeah.
Which is the people should look at the consumer price index. That's your go-to thing that you can look at. So whenever you want to see how things are going, where prices are heading, whether in the next few months you'll be dying from price inflation or whatever, just go on Google and just Google your consumer price index of your own country.
Sure.
Look at how kind of in what spectrum of that of your consumer prices in your country, where are we going? And you look at the inflations, you'll see your inflations, you will see also, you should watch your debt clock. Let's see what is your country
Wonderful.
investing in, what is your country not investing in, what infrastructures are your country building, what are they not building, and then that's where you would actually have a clear idea if you want to continue with the job that you're doing or with whatever that you're doing, or are you going to continue spending the money as a consumer like you are, or are you going to try and change that? So that's the direction I think people should take right now, instead of trying to kill yourself over these kind of things.
Yeah, most definitely. Most definitely. People should look at, your things like your national debt, because if in your country, there's inflation, meaning that there's something that happened, things, look at 2019 when, COVID happened. 500 billion was printed, and it was it was borrowed from the Fed, and on average before then, the country was surviving for a whole year with 60 to 79 billion, and interest rates were actually going up by 10%. So meaning that when a country borrows between 60 to 79 billion, everything, if bread was 10 rand and it goes up by 10%, it's going to now be 11 rand. So now when you borrow 500 billion plus 70 something, you borrow money, you usually borrow for 11 years, over a period of 11 years. It was borrowed in a year. So now if you decide to commit yourself into buying, something that you're going to be paying consistently at that time, you know that money for 11 years was borrowed for a year and interest goes up by 10%. So you times that 10% times 11. So meaning that everything from 2019 going on to 2020, it had to account for all that money that was borrowed. That's why everything from 2019, prices jumped up ridiculously to account for that. Prices like bread, if it was 10 rand, now it would be worth 21 rand, and that happens for everything. It happens for everything. So you just need to look at the type of era you are in, and you need to look at the type of investment that you want to make. Because look at this now. You know that there's going to be a recession. And if there's going to be a recession, people are going to be laid off. And when people are laid off, you know that people now are getting they bought everything. You know that those things are going to be repossessed and sold at undervalue. So now, if you're a clever person, you look where, there's a problem. Things like energy. What are we having the biggest problem with in the country? We're having a problem with load shedding, but nobody is talking about, investing into energy. So now something that's very problematic and something that's, not common, something that's scarce. If you invest into solving a problem, you will get a higher yield. Unlike investing into something that everybody else is doing. And like I always say, to every problem, there's an opportunity. You just need to position yourself. You need to educate yourself and position yourself. COVID, 500 billion was borrowed. People lost jobs. People were retrenched. If you owned a company, people were not buying your things. There were supply chain errors because people cannot buy things. Stock is bare. But now people that saw the opportunity to that are people, that invested into a company that's selling masks. They're like, how do we solve this problem? Now people that sold masks, but the PPE, they're good. People that were selling sanitizers, if you owned a sanitizer company, at that time, you're good. So now you wouldn't...
I know a lot of them are in trouble with Sambo. I know a lot of them, my mom say.
Yeah. Yeah. So, you must...
Let me add on what you're saying there. So I just want people to look at it this way. When you're looking at inflation, let's say business-wise, nah? The people, your suppliers, basically, for us to break it down in a simple term, people who are your suppliers that are supplying your business with either the goods or products that you are selling, they will raise their prices high, right? And you are buying whatever product that you're buying. If you are buying tissues, let's say you are at Checkers and you're manufacturing, you're buying tissues, you're buying soaps and stuff like that. Maybe it was 12 rand. Now they're starting to sell it at 13 rand. Now that automatically makes you as the business to sell to the consumer at a higher price.
Yep.
And when you sell to the consumer at a higher price, that inflation doesn't only affect your consumer, it also affects your employees. So that inflation that you thought that you're going to make profit out of, now you have to now give your employees a raise because definitely they're not getting paid enough. So it affects your whole ecosystem of the business.
Yep.
So now things your profit gets affected, and then it becomes a whole spiral. So now you have a currency that has to meet the equilibrium, which is 50% of goods and services. So your currency, the goods and services, your currency is supposed to meet it at least halfway. That's what most of people in business call break-even point. So that's just the basics of inflation. I hope I explained it properly in business.
Wonderful. Clear, King, clear.
Yeah.
That's all I wanted to say.
Yeah.
You can take them, my man.
Away. That's wonderful, Uncle Nifty. And just like you were saying, man, I mean, look at examples now. If you invested, wrongly, or you invested in a product, a product could be a good product at a wrong time. Right now, maybe say you bought a franchise, where you sell things, that are perishable. I mean, look at now, if you go to, because when I was in the Northwest, when I was over here, when I was home in Freiburg, when we went to KFC, when I came to Mafikeng, when I went to KFC, they said Khahonanam. But now, it's not an issue of chickens not being available, but it's the thing that Nifty has been explaining. Now, look at load shedding. Load shedding has affected, companies that have things that are perishable. Because now when there's load shedding, so now stock was sidula, and then nama diabola, and adibola, it's a loss to the person that actually owns that company. So now, if it's a loss to you, are you telling me that you're going to keep on buying that material? No, you're slowly going to, get away from it. And, that's going to affect your profit margins. And when it affects your profit margins, it means that's the result. And that's what I was talking about when I was like, the first half of this year, it's actually going to suck. We're going to see a lot of layouts. You see, things like that. Like, these are signs.
I want to give you no chicken for you.
Yeah.
Yeah. What up over? So, Sambo, how do we then mitigate, Lou and Uncle Nefty, maybe you can chip in, how do we then, mitigate all these factors? How do we navigate through life in such, tight ties of economic frontiers?
The first thing that we need is leaders who are not hungry.
Thank you.
We need a banking system that will actually work.
Yes.
And that's not going because
I'm glad EFF nene.
Let's not get into politics. We don't know who's listening. Let's not.
I'm just saying what.
Yeah, they are right. They're 100% right. They are 100% right. A permanent solution.
I'll start explaining this, right? the banking system, when it was created, it was created for this. That's why, if you remember back in our episodes, I'm sure it was the first quarter of the last year.
Yeah,
When
found money.
explaining, when we were explaining like the creation of money on its own, like you were saying, quantitative easing, it doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Why would you print so much money, which is now what people are looking for, which is the most dangerous thing. We are looking for fiat currencies.
Yeah.
Which is it's very useless. That's only paper. So paper only holds storage value and purchasing power. That's the only thing that's happening. So when we're having a banking system, that's the root cause of anything that doesn't work. Because if you look at it, every bubble and crash that happened was due to all of these kinds of systems. Because the first one was in 1929. The second one, during that .com bubble or whatever they call it.
Yep.
And then the other one was real estate, which was
2008.
2008. That was one of the biggest, you see. So if we need a system that's going to work. And as for what, I don't know if they are still doing it. I hope they are doing it to save our lives. What I saw, BRICS, what they were signing into leaving the dollar, right? Not it being a pegged, what they call a pegged currency anymore. They're trying to run away from the dollar, whereby they're going to have gold or natural minerals or resources pegged up.
It's a lot of time, though. It's a lot of time, though.
Yes.
They did.
Yes, they did.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Ramaphosa was there. El Presidente was there.
I think BRICS now trying to have China, Russia, India,
Brazil.
they're all Brazil. They're all trying to come together and have a currency of years that will be backed up by gold. So at least
I'm happy they signed on it. It's something that has been talked about since the Zuma era.
Yes.
Yeah,
since the Thabo Mbeki era.
Anyone who's listening and could read me right now, I hope they just correct us if it was fake or not. I don't like faking.
Yeah.
Not trying to meet.
I'm happy to signed on it.
But to give a local pitch radio where it's a child never be gold and then nothing happened.
Yeah. Like sound money.
You have leaders who are not in their, I don't know what's happening with them. But anyway.
and when you look at BRICS, when you look at BRICS, they're capable of doing that.
More than capable.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
More than capable. Yeah. I mean, if you have already formulated a group that is militarily strong in the first place,
Yep.
right? So if anything has to happen, I know that they are capable of standing their ground.
Yeah,
Unless you cowards amongst them that will be like, oh,
don't go there. I know what you're trying to say, Uncle Lefty.
we won't have strong enough soldiers.
Mm-hmm.
But I think China, Russia, South Africa also now. But what I have done because my in-laws are in military. They were telling me some things about the military that I wouldn't go deep into. But he told me he's like, you know what the military of South Africa is doing right now? Oh my
man.
It's heartbreaking. So I think we need to tighten up on that and tighten our belts. Yeah. But I think our constitutions, the constitutions that we sign, also like the kind of things that sell off our peoples and sell
exactly. Yep.
And we find ourselves in predicament of these inflations, these low jobs and stuff like that. It doesn't make sense for you to have natural resources and you're the one that's suffering.
Yeah.
And you have the military power. Yeah, and you have the people in power. Consider those kind of things. You have the people in power, you have the vote, but your people are suffering because there are some things that you're just letting off as as a decision maker. So yeah,
Yeah,
counts.
we're living in a company. That's like,
Yeah.
a permanent solution.
We need systems that will actually work for the people. Like I've seen one thing that I can give Putin a hand on this. Putin puts Russia first. It doesn't say because other countries go cut ties with me. Then it's Russia first. If nothing involves
If you're without, you'll come along. If you're not, it's okay.
Yeah.
He doesn't really care about tying hands or shaking hands. It's Russia.
And a principle.
We need that kind of mentality with our leaders. South Africa. If that's not implemented, we are going to fall short.
Exactly.
Yeah, no, for sure.
A lot of people might also have an opinion about, President Zuma. But President Zuma was also like that. That guy is very smart. He was the head, intelligence. And, he's very, very close with Putin. So that guy's a strategist. And, when you put your people first, you will start getting shunned upon. I mean, look at the era of President Zuma. He raised a lot, like the most black multimillionaires in the country to ever come out the country. It was during his term because, he was putting his foot down to be like, okay, this country is, for my people, and I will put my people first. Things like when America was actually saying that the world must disarm, like when the disarmament law actually came out, Zuma a nuclear weapon that we had between Kuruman going on to Namibia. And, if you have that, they know that you have power, so they won't fight you, they won't bully you, they won't come and buy, things from you at undervalue because you can fight them. But now, once, that's taken out the way, and, which has to do with leaders like, Mr. Nifty was saying, because we as Africans, have this problem. It's like a cancer, we all think that, politicians are leaders, because, we were liberated by people that were, leaders at first, that became politicians. I mean, look at your Nyerere, your Sankara, your Gaddafi, your Mugabe. These people are people that built something. They were leaders that went into politics. They know how to lead people. So now, when that happened, there was a misconfusion. Now we have leaders that have never built anything. And now we are wondering why they can't balance a budget. Why our roads, they can't our roads are not safe. Why our electricity is being switched on and off.
And shame them, Sambo, because really, that's what it's happening now in Africa. African leaders now. Lukumba said something about them as well, that they are just
Yeah, but no,
Africa actually had, Africa had a solid system. The leaders were united. That's when, Muammar Gaddafi, when they were saying that Africa should have one currency, which is backed by gold. That's a permanent solution to everything. If you have money that's backed. If you have,
Muammar Gaddafi is the one who actually is the founder of what you call today Pan-Africa. So he put $500 million alone.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then other African countries
exactly.
who actually had interest in Africa being united. So when you see that, you're like, well, I'm going to think 500 USD under one.
That's why he was isolated. They made sure they isolated Gaddafi so that they can finish it.
Yeah, because
what we think, we have this thing of self-hatred. So as Africans, we need to get out of that self-hatred mentality, the crabs in the bucket mentality, and uplift our people. I mean, you can take a good look at South Africa. You can see the infrastructure is falling apart. Anyway, the infrastructure is apart. They can say, hey, we are building, we are trying this. There's nothing that we are building. I don't see anything that's being built. But according to our president, he says that he's been building, and apparently now there's no more load shedding. That's what I heard. I was watching some interview of his. He said they've tackled load shedding. I don't know what's going on.
Where?
Tackle how?
Which country?
Tackle how? Because Eskom was scammed. Eskom was scammed. They bought coal that was rock. I mean,
I don't have this guy.
yeah,
I am.
exactly. So now, what? Yeah,
You know, more than anything. That's why you get these kind of things. That's why it doesn't make sense for you to have natural materials. Like seeing Zimbabwe right now, they're saying they're no more going to supply lithium to external countries. So basically, I think they're trying to have it there, build it there, refine it there, and then sell it at an inflated price, which is what
because
they've been doing anyway.
Yep.
So
Yep.
now,
Yeah.
they think that with lithium, that's the biggest thing for batteries, you know, and everything. So I hope it works out. But you know, a white person can own that company, and then they just name it under a black person's name. Maybe it's a Chiko or
Chunoka.
Yeah.
like they do with any other thing, and then they have the. So the problem is the wealth exchange.
Yeah.
In Africa, I think the wealth exchange is the problem. If we had a proper wealth exchange, we need access. That's what I always say.
Regulations.
Access. Yeah, if we can work at an access level whereby you are not shut out because you're a certain race, you're a certain color, whatever, I think we can actually have a proper exchange of value without looking down on the next person. So, yeah, we need that, honestly speaking, more than any other thing, revolutions and stuff. You just need a proper interaction of wealth exchange and being involved in the economies. Yeah.
That's powerful. That's powerful.
Yeah.
Sambo, ha ke tsora 23 minutes after 9, it's only 9:30. I get it.
All right.
We've got 7 minutes to wrap up this morning. With all the audience that is listening at the moment, we appreciate you. We appreciate you for coming on. This is the Morning Joint on Pitch Radio. I'm with Anton Nefti, Romeo, Sambo, Wangolota, the usual suspect on a Monday. O bua ka sa rata o rata ikonomi misima no rata madi o rata go dira madi mme o tlhaloganya madi ke se se botlhokwa ga rata wa tlhaloganya so o tsaba le ditsala tse di tlhaloganyang madi so I think he's got a good crowd around him. Sampo.
Yebo, and what Uncle Nifty was saying, look at our neighbors now, Zimbabwe. They have lithium. We are struggling with load shedding. And Rona, we have coal. We've been supplying the world coal for over 400 years. So it's not a matter of lacking resources. It's a matter of leadership. There are things like, your liquid energy. Things like liquid energy, which is way cheaper, to have, and it lasts longer than lithium. And lithium is actually, more sustainable than coal. So we have all of these things, but due to regulations, that's why, your millionaires, multimillionaires, and billionaires are moving out the country. The reason why they're moving out the country is because, whenever they try to, solve these kind of problems, your problems like energy, whenever you try to do this, regulations block you from actually being able to do that. And you actually don't understand why. And, there's a reason for that. There's someone that's eating, that's blocking that. And how Muammar Gaddafi was also like carrying on to what Nifty was saying, Muammar Gaddafi, that now, he could sponsor $500 billion alone. because Africa had a plan. And, you know, Muammar Gaddafi followed through with it because we have the natural resources. You know, when gold was cut off, when the dollar was cut off the gold status by President Nixon in 1971, it was said that whenever there's, you know, a global economic market crash, like whenever there's a market crash, the gold price will be the one that accounts for it. So what Muammar Gaddafi was doing for them to actually make him fall from the ninth floor is that he knew that he had the gold in the ground. So now, if they say we are using currency, like monopoly money, he would print so much currency and give his people to go and buy things outside. These pieces of paper, whenever their currency crashes or it devalues, Yakadazim dollar, our neighbors, gold accounts for that. And they know that they have gold in the ground. So now they can still get back the new currency. And which was a plan for the entire, you know, continent of Africa. And if they did that, Africa would be probably, you know, a superpower. Like we would be the US. We would be better than them because essentially we have the natural resources in our ground. And, you know, if we were the ones that actually took initiative to dictate how, you know, we actually sell them and when to sell, when to buy. Because anything gets value from scarcity. Art gets value from scarcity. So if something is scarce in a certain country, the value of it is going to spike up. Like, look at sunflowers. We have sunflowers in the Northwest, but the price of the flower, because we are not the ones that are dictating what we do with our resources. Sunflower ya go tura yaanong because of what's happening, because there's no oil in Russia. That's the thing. Because of other countries' problems, we are inheriting their problems and inheriting their inflation as well. Because our money, like our rand, our currency, is backed by theirs. So if we chose to just stand up, like if we just chose to stand up and be like, listen guys, we're not selling you this. We know that you guys need gold, but now because you guys are printing so much more money and you are devaluing the gold price to go down, and when it's down, you want to come and buy from us, and then now we have these pieces of paper, and then when a recession hits, and then a currency is cut off, no, Yana, the gold price goes up. And now when we need to rebuy it from you guys, you know, we have to work more. So which doesn't make sense, which actually doesn't make sense. So if we were the ones, like if we knew that currency, you know, America is printing more and more dollars, and the gold price has to, you know, account for that. We don't let them buy the gold as yet. Up until now, there's a recession. And then now, when their government tries to bail them out, and, you know, things are cheap, and our gold price is up, that's how we can win. And it's something that's very possible, but it's not done.
Well, one of the problems it's conflict of interest. The people who basically have the Reserve Bank Kadiwashi in South Africa, right? The people who have funded so many things. When there's conflict of interest, by saying this, if we can say that no and whatever, okay, sure, that can happen. But if there's conflict of interest with the economic controllers, it's not going to happen because
it's not going to happen, bro. It's always back the US dollar.
Yeah. Well, now, because now you're cutting off the US. I know what Ronaldo is doing. That role, KFC, you see, so it also do what? It will also affect the people that we are trying to protect at the same time. So now the people that have lost their jobs, now who are they looking at? And they're hungry that time. That's the same thing that happened to Mugabe.
Yeah, but Nifty, again, if we know what a KFC goes, you can just change the name and keep on doing it. That's the solution. Do it to employ people. That's it.
Yeah, no, I understand what you're saying. That's what I'm saying. It's easier said than that.
Yeah, that's why what the real
For sure.
the business, yeah, McDonald's. McDonald's does not make money, a lot of its money from burgers. They make a lot of money from property. Yeah, from real estate.
Yes,
That's the thing. We need to be doing that.
That's what I'm saying. Conflict of interest with the economic holders.
Yeah,
Yeah, for sure.
the leaders.
Oh, definitely.
You understand?
Gents, I think we should wrap it up unless if we want to slip here on the radio. What information this morning? Exciting, energetic one. Thank you so much for coming through, Uncle Def. Please wrap it up, and then Romeo, we've fallen for it.
Absolutely. All I want to say is that we definitely need new leaders. That's what we need. We need a change of everything, especially our constitutions and interest of business and who does it benefit. That's the most important thing. And yeah, Uncle Nifty, love you long time, guys. I'm happy to be back on Pitch.
Oh man,
Yeah. So, Happy New Year to everybody. I hope everybody's going to have a wonderful year, and then change your interests. Try and see where you can fit into the economy. Use your skills to get yourself some paper, guys. And love you long time. Uncle Avy.
Yebo.
Wonderful, my king. Sambo.
Yebo. Now, like, what my 2 cents, before I leave, I would just like to tell people that, we should change the way, we educate ourselves, even if something is, like, if you're taught something, it's somebody actually came with it. So now we need to change the way, we educate ourselves. We need to, try and explore new avenues, because now, we used to say that we are in an age of information. Now there's too much information. Nako tseno go tlhokagala di-doctor di nya ko sekolong. No yana, there are too many doctors. So now people are losing jobs. We need to now be looking at other areas to solve, that type of problem. And yeah, so that's just what I wanted to tell people. And I wanted to just say Happy New Year's to you guys, and compliments, and welcome to 2023. 2023 is going to be a very, very big year for all of us. And yeah, peace, love, and light, man. It's too much for the boys to handle the heat. Yours truly, Hokage. You can get me on Facebook by RomeoTshepisoSambo, Instagram Romeo_Tshepi96, at 72 degrees LTD on both Facebook and Instagram. Danke.
So Romeo, so thank you so much. What a show. City, new one. Wonderful. Wape. Let's get to 6 to 9, the morning from me.